Alright, some context. Face it, Mapcore hubs sometimes host these huge $15,000 mapping contests where mappers are challenged to make custom maps in a limited amount of time, and high-ranking entries there are pretty much guaranteed to be officially featured in-game. Anubis and Basalt, for example, were the top two from the last one, and here they are. Now, just a couple of days ago, the final stage of this year's contest has concluded, and damn, what a journey it was. Going from nearly 300 early map prototypes to over 50 promising projects to just 10 of some of the best community maps ever made. I already covered stage 1 and 2 in depth in previous videos and I'm glad you all enjoyed them. I recommend a watch if you're interested, though it's not a must to understand this one. But yeah, as I said, there's only 10 finalists left, and unlike previous stages, they are now fully 100% finished and will look and play pretty much the same once they get to be featured in-game. So if you follow these maps so far, perhaps wanna take a sneak peek at future CS2 updates, or maybe even hear my guesses on where each one will place, this video is for you. Let's begin. Starting off with Wild, I gotta say, I love it. Like, if we were speaking purely in terms of the attention to detail, this would have been an undisputed winner. Going from relatively small stuff, like how these chains swing or how this leather breaks under my weight, to all sorts of interactable animals, traps and objects, to amazing Easter eggs like the super lab from Breaking Bad or an opportunity to get probed by aliens. And all of this is set around a beautiful mesa cliffside that at points just takes your breath away, while also providing very fun and experimental gameplay that feels like nothing else out there. So if I only have good things to say about it, why do I feel like it will place 10th? Well, even though I like how experimental it is, experimental maps don't usually do too well in competitions. I'd say probably because they take a bit of time to get used to, time that the judges often can't afford. So maps that make sense and feel amazing right away look way more appealing to them. Combining this with the negative stigma surrounding hostage maps that I will expand upon later, Wild really will have a hard time going against the tried and tested diffuse maps. But yeah, I'm still quite confident we might see Wild in-game eventually, especially considering how much people enjoy Palacio and how Wild in a way is a spiritual successor to it made by the same author. But for now, the competition is tough, so I'd imagine it will place 10th. Choosing my 9th placement was a bit harder, since all of the following maps have quite conventional layouts. Not without their gimmicks, of course, but nothing that would turn off a judge on first impression. But looking at visuals, one definitely stands out. Grail. Grail is the most unique looking map of the whole contest, to the point that if I turn off the view model, I think most people would assume I'm showing them a new Overwatch update rather than CS. Which is great, don't get me wrong, it makes the map stand out and feel fresh, as well as contributing to the nice and clean angles, some really cool lanes and a lot of interesting ideas. But a concern of mine that it goes a bit too far, to the point that it's unrealistic. Now that is a very strong word, and as I mentioned in the past, all CS maps are unrealistic to some extent. But I feel like here it's to the point where it breaks my immersion and makes me question every little detail present. Like, to be this big and grand, this has to be a huge theme park operation, yet it has no rides or attractions other than a minigolf course. And no way minigolf pays enough to build an entire castle just for a couple of holes in the middle of a dense metropolitan area. And like, what's even the point of some of the paths here that lead nowhere? Or why dropping like half a meter onto these rocks kills me? I usually wouldn't nitpick like this, but this map kinda has to do the extra work. Because if it's intentionally unrealistic on the surface, the smaller details that bring it back to reality got to be on point. Otherwise it will end up feeling like a video gamey place in a video gamey world, which isn't really what CS2 is going for, I believe. And you definitely can argue that the map is pretty, and that's good enough, but seeing as Contact, an entry from stage 2 that didn't qualify into the finals in big part because of its setting being considered unrealistic, I think this one might follow soon. And if choosing my 9th place was hard, my 8th placement was nearly impossible. To understand why, let's look at the maps I consider for it. Stronghold is an awesome fort castle map set in Gibraltar, which looks just amazing from basically any angle. Like, I walk around this map and I'm amazed how seamlessly it combines the elements of breathtaking cliffsides, historic castles, damp caves and steamy catacombs. It even has monkeys. Is there even anything else to ask for? And when it comes to playing it, I found it to be quite a lot. Like, literally, it's a very big map, with large open lanes and spacious bomb sites, which plays surprisingly nicely off of the tight close-range indoor mid. But the size also contributes to the rotation times being quite long, which when combined with the bomb sites being as big and complex as they are, causes the map to be quite unforgiving when it comes to retakes. Now, this is an entirely fair design choice, and I know that many people do enjoy this aspect of the map, but it's not really my cup of tea, so I wonder if any of the judges would feel the same way I do. Jura, in comparison, is a map I found to be one of the strongest ones in the contest gameplay-wise. Alongside elegantly designed paths and bomb sites, its layout combines the best aspects of the regular free-lane structure with the unique B-ramp dynamic of Nuke, that lets you bypass the site and push into city spawn, creating tons of new strats that are entirely unique to this map. All of that is supported by the sharp visuals with their pleasant white-green color palette that inspire a lot of confidence in my ability to see enemies clearly across the map. Though, if I am to complain, I gotta say that unlike Stronghold, there isn't a single spot that gives me a wow effect. Like, the map looks great, amazing even, but there's no, I don't know, an iconic gun bomb site or an exciting view or a monkey. Like, there's nothing that stands out as iconic. And the fact that the map features hot air balloons is kinda proving my point. Like, there wasn't enough of a personality to this castle by itself, so the balloons were added late in development as an emergency measure of sorts. These factors already make it hard to choose between the iconic Stronghold and the very well playing Jura, but then Fleek comes in and complicates things even further. It isn't the best looking map in the contest and neither it is the best playing, but something it has a lot of is personality. I'm not sure how to exactly put it into words, but I feel like Fleek is very much a crowd pleaser. It's hard for me to imagine a person that doesn't like the idea of a map set in a movie production studio and across its many sets. Of course I'd love to explode a news broadcasting room. Of course I want to have a start of the round shootout in an old western saloon. Of course I like these silly parody posters. And yes, I want to spend my time in Mollywood. Anyway, yeah, I do have some concerns regarding its design or how it's played, but honestly not more than I have for any of the official maps, so does it even matter at this point? Nonetheless, these three maps are very high quality, each with its unique strengths and advantages that all have an equal potential to impress a judge in one way or another, which made trying to guess their placements an exercise in fury crafting and nitpicking. So to help me out, I decided to ask for help from the Independent Bureau of Context Predictions. Basically, I surveyed nearly 50 mappers that participated in or followed this contest for a second opinion. And on average, people rated Jura 8th, Stronghold 7th and Fleek 6th. You know this feeling when you ask for advice on something and once you hear it you want to do the exact opposite? Well, this is kinda what happened here to me, so I'll actually place Fleek 8th, Jura 7th and Stronghold 6th, since I have a gut feeling that visuals will play a larger part in the judging process than people think. But I'll still keep track of the bureau scores, cause I think they very well might be onto something. And by the way, we agree on Wild's and Grail's placement. Alright, let's move on. Palacio. Now this is a castle map that does it all. In terms of gameplay, it's very strong, being one of those maps that always makes me feel like I can outplay my enemies if I play my cards right. Having a good balance of fighting for map control with risky yet highly lucrative fast rotations. It's very fun. And its visuals are amazing, keeping the highest level of quality all around the map and providing the aforementioned wow factor around every corner. Even and actually especially indoors. Let's take a minute to appreciate them. Yeah, they feel so real and authentic, making my brain tingle in all sorts of ways I should probably get checked out. And lastly, in terms of personality, this is pretty much the most personalized the castle can get. With such intricate and unique architecture, with its insanely colorful walls and tiles, it's a wonder this place even exists in real life. So yeah, Palacio is nearly perfect, and honestly the only reason I put it 5th is that some of the walls, even though beautiful, can look a bit fuzzy and distracting during gameplay. Usually I would have blamed it on me being slightly colorblind, which definitely is a skill issue, but the bureau agreed with me on this one, so 5th place it is. Alpine is a favorite that has been consistently placed at the top by me and many others throughout all stages of the competition. What can I say that hasn't been already said? It's amazing. If Palacio gave us a lot of wow factor, this map is one big juicy wow factor through and through. Consistently, no matter where you look, it's brimming with personality, and its aesthetics are just peak. Especially being elevated by how the map masterfully combines a couple of completely different yet perfectly executed themes with its beautiful snow that glues it all together into a coherent masterpiece of level design. And of course it also plays well and is a premier example of a good hostage map design. But now, regarding the top 4 placement, I found myself to be in a similar predicament as with the 8th, 7th and 6th, where all of the maps at this point are pretty much perfect and there is no really telling which one will land where. But the more I thought about it, I realized that while the other 3 diffuse entries I can imagine being winners, there is no way a hostage map would land a win in a CS2 mapping contest. Like, even though a good chunk of the community would love to see more attention put into the hostage game mode, the reality is that most players, and especially Valve, don't really seem to care about it. And I imagine the judges of this contest wouldn't be too different in that regard. The bureau disagrees with me on this one and has predicted Alpine to be the winner. Well, I'd love for it to win, that will be an amazing achievement honestly, but I have a feeling that the bureau might be a bit biased, perhaps because of me or Lukival's chiseled chin. Nonetheless, if Alpine does snag at least the top 4, that will already be a major step towards a better future for hostage maps, since this precedent will make mappers more confident in that working on this game mode is not a waste of time. And especially if Valve features it in game, I think it will reinvigorate a good chunk of the hostage mode player base that so far have been stuck with only Office and Italy. That will be very nice. Well, this is the end game, folks, and I gotta say, I have no idea, like genuinely no idea who will be the winner. So before I start repeating myself, let's get straight into the potential top 3 placements and discuss them. Warden, in my opinion, is the best looking map in the whole contest. Like, yeah, Palacio's architecture is more impressive and Alpine's mixed aesthetics are more interesting per se, but Warden in its apparent simplicity has this quality that I cannot really put into words. Perhaps it's just my subjective taste, but it feels insanely pretty and pleasant to explore. Like, everything is just exactly as it should be. And the simplicity I mentioned goes further, like some people critique that all of the rooms and areas are similar and built using the same architecture and style, but I actually love how the map gives you just the right amount of detail and color to easily differentiate this one as the kitchen or this one as the laundry room. These showers are a work of art. And also in terms of gameplay, Warden uses relatively simple square shapes and isn't ashamed to spam crates like the good old days, creating angles that are easy to understand and are comfortable to play around, which I think all is still part of the simple human appeal. Even the core structure of the layout is symmetrical, even though some people think it's lazy. Real ones know that preserving symmetry is of uttermost importance, and it works great with how the map is laid out. Now, if Warden in my mind is the best looking, then Canopy is the most aesthetically pleasing, if that makes sense. And also the best playing map out of the entire contest, if not in the entire game, in my personal experience. During stage 2 I was concerned with the art direction Canopy took, when it transformed from a sunny tropic resort to a spooky, foggy, abandoned village. But with the new updates it received, and the more time I spent on it, I grew to love it even more. I love how different it is from all other submissions, deciding to ditch the sunshine in favor of overcast clouds, that look as great as ever with the new rain particles Valve added with Train. And I love how its weird, mostly empty rooms, instead of feeling like an overside, feed into the spooky abandoned feel that this map is going for. And I cannot overlook these frogs. They look so smug and happy that just spending time with them makes any negative emotions wash away. But now to get my head out of my pretentious ass. Not everyone likes rain, not everyone likes the rain on Train, and this map, even though it plays amazingly, doesn't really do anything new gameplay-wise and is mostly a standard 4-square layout, which might be something that judges consider. This is where Golden comes in. Golden is, in a way, a child of Canopy and Warden, where half of the map is this industrial mining thingamajig and the other is a quaint Japanese village. And the routes connecting them together are the interesting part. You have a classic Counter-Strike map mid, a tunnel that basically works like the canal on Anubis, and a super connector that gives you access to both sides and mid in a matter of seconds. These at first seemed to me like a mess, but actually after playing a few games on it, Golden turned out to work surprisingly well. It's familiar enough for new players to feel confident on it right away, yet introduces just enough of its own unique elements that spice it up and make it leave a lasting impression. All of that supported by the amazing visuals that don't really look like anything else we had in Counter-Strike prior. Make this map into a very strong contender for the first place, at least based on how fresh yet familiar it is in all of its aspects. With that said, how would these maps place? The Bureau ranked them like this, and yeah, that's fair. I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Of course it can go either way, but I have a suspicion that what I appreciated in Warden might fall under the radar during judging, since it's quite subtle, and in a similar way the spooky yet relaxing aesthetic of Canopy might not be for everyone, leaving Golden to take the W with its all-around appeal. Damn. Well, these are my predictions. Feel free to fight me on them in the comments, I'd love to hear your opinions. And this pretty much concludes my overview of this contest as well as this series. Once again, maybe not too climactic, but I'll of course update you on the official results. They should come out in a couple of days, I think, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this contest definitely ended up being a big adventure, both for the maps and for me. Special thanks to everyone who helped me with the creation of these videos, as well as of course the mappers for making such awesome maps and organizers of the contest that set this whole thing up. As well as of course you the viewers for keeping me company and providing valuable input. I had a lot of fun making these videos and hope you enjoyed them too. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing, I'll appreciate that a lot. Anyway, I concluded the stage 1 video by telling people to make more maps. I concluded the stage 2 video by telling people to finish their maps. And in this final one, I'll be telling you to play and support other people's maps. Cause at least for me personally, even though I like making maps and I love detailing, well, I don't love detailing, but I love seeing maps get detailed, the best part is no doubt having other people check them out and seeing their reactions, enjoyment and criticism. This is what in the end makes the whole process worth it. So my advice to you, if you care about community maps in CS2, consider queuing the few ones we have in comp, or all of the ones featured on the Faceit Mapcore hub, or even just anything else from Workshop with your friends on a custom server. Perhaps that will be a bit more fun than playing Mirage in Premiere for the 100th time. Or perhaps it won't, but it's worth a try, I think. In any case, I hope you have a great day, and I'll hopefully see you next Friday, even though I did a Saturday upload twice in a row, but trust me on this one. Anyway, have a good one, bye bye.